Yeah, so how I got into franchising was we did touch on it through some coursework through an MBA I was doing. There was some coursework through franchising, a franchise concept, and we had a look at the business model. And I didn't really know what it was, and again was fascinated by how large that industry was, but how underrated or undermentioned it was. And so it was not even 3-4 months later, following that coursework, when it was time to get back into the workforce and to start to find something, that I immediately did a Google search for franchise. I can't even remember what it was. It was something franchise jobs, and that led to a franchise marketing job with a small popcorn franchise out of Boulder, Colorado, which was where I was living at the time. And yeah, I took that job. It was an entry-level job. They had one other hire that they made for that franchise program, which was now my business partner, Mike Edwards. I was charged with figuring out how to get him leads, and he was charged with figuring out how to sell to those leads, how to sell them one of these popcorn franchises. And in a few years, we kind of figured it out together. And I think we sold about 300 units or so. And at that time, we were getting a lot of companies towards the end of that, a lot of franchise brands saying, hey, look, come and work for us. And that became a pretty regular thing. And we thought, there's a demand for this. We've got kind of, at least we think we figured it out. And perhaps we could help more than just one company next time. And what would that look like? And so we partnered up with another couple people initially, and long story short, that's how Raintree started. We went from a small popcorn franchise operation to taking on a number of different brands that we work with now and have over the last 8 years. I love a lot about franchising. Like most people, I'm assuming you'll get people or the family as an answer. And I think that's pretty common, and there's a reason it's common. It's because it's true. There's some really cool people in this industry, and I've learned so much. And I think ultimately, there's really two things if you dive into it. Firstly, I'm an idiot, right? I'm not a smart guy, but just through the fact that happened to choose this industry and was so lucky to get involved with some very smart people and awesome people, I've been able to, as I said, in 12 years, become a franchisee and a franchisor and do some other stuff too. And someone of my intelligence probably shouldn't be afforded that opportunity in any other industry. And so for that, I give franchising my thanks forever. And I think, again, just the people, more than the results or what we've been able to build at Raintree and some of the other companies that I worked with, it's always been and it will always for us be about the people. I love the family that I work with every day. I love the founders that I get to work with every day. I love the franchisees that we're awarding to. And most importantly, I love my teammates at Raintree, and it's honestly what gets me out of bed every morning. If I didn't have them to work for and to be inspired by and to do my part for the team, this would not be nearly as fun. And it's just so fun when you're all rolling in the same direction, doing something special like empowering people through business ownership and giving them an alternative career path to corporate America, allowing them the opportunity to sort of write their own destiny through franchising, and then doing that with a bunch of really cool people. It's just so fun to get out of bed and do that every day. That's what I love most about it. I think there are certainly traits that we see. There's certainly we look for, and I can kind of talk more to the franchise development side, because the traits differ depending on whether you're operating a franchisor and playing a support role, or whether you're developing a franchisor and recruiting franchisees. And I think, we've worked with more than 30 brands now, and we've sold a lot of franchises and worked with a lot of people that have sold those franchises. So there's been a good amount of data there, of anecdotal experience for us to leverage. And I think that when you look at those people that are really successful in this role, first and foremost, I think that we at least look for one thing, and that's passion. If you're in this industry just to make money, you're not going to be successful. You're probably not going to make money, but you're not going to be successful. You really, in order to do that, you can't cheat the passion. You have to really want to help folks. You have to really want to bridge the gap between somebody that's looking as franchising to take the path they're trying to take, whether that path is leading them to more freedom and flexibility in their life, whether it's leading them away from the shackles of corporate America and just the dissatisfaction with working that world, or whether it's to increasing their own earnings potential, and whatever that reason is, and making sure that you are creating a bridge with a brand that can actually deliver on that. And when you're really passionate about that, when you really care about the smile on the face and the conversation you have with that franchisee when they tell you a year or two later that they're buying additional territories, that this was the best thing that they've ever done, and they're so grateful for you, Mr. or Mrs. franchise sales or development person, for creating that bridge. And likewise for the franchisor, the founders that we work with, when they take that initial success they had with their franchise brand, and you're one of the primary reasons as to why they now have a truly national brand with hundreds of franchisees, and they tell you they just didn't see this as a real possibility, and their minds are still blown every day. You have to really have that passion. You have to really just want to do this for those reasons of helping either the franchisee or the franchisor. And I think that's hard to identify in folks. But when you see folks in this industry that are passionate, it's to that level, it's very likely that they're pretty successful in that world of franchise development. I feel great about the comeback. I did not feel great about the comeback for some of the brands that I was involved with over a year ago. May, June last year was tough. It was terrifying. I am the franchisor of a children's art studio concept, and we had 20 franchisees when we were just getting up and going. It was only our first or second year in sort of franchise development for the brand, but a lot of franchisees that were literally told you cannot do business. And then at Raintree, we had a number of food brands and QSR brands that could only rely upon third-party delivery in order to keep the doors open. And so we really felt the brunt of that, and it was tough. And to remember some of those conversations with some of those franchisees and franchisors at that time to where we are today. And where we are today is it's just not, I would not have predicted that we would have recovered to this extent for those types of brands. Granted, we have service brands and pet brands that just thrived throughout it and have only gone up. But there's a number of brands that really felt the brunt of the pandemic, like I said, and where they're at today. Most brands, food, service, children's, wherever it is, there's none of our brands that I don't know that aren't kind of having record growth right now, whether that's record franchise development growth or record in-store sales growth. And that was, as I said, that's something that we did not forecast or foresee. And so there's a lot more people that are far more articulate to this point than me and a lot more intelligent than me that explain just how the franchise model has really shown its worth, just how much it's shown how special it is. And there's a variety of reasons as to why I think franchise brands have recovered possibly at a much higher rate than your mom and pop or your non-franchise concept. So we're seeing that. To recap again, we're seeing record franchise development. I've been selling franchises over 10 years, just over 10 years, and I've never seen a year like this. And that's across all our brands. And the really interesting part is the increase in same-store sales and in internal revenue increases for franchise brands too. It's been really exciting to see. What advice I would have is, especially when you're young, I would try and put on as many hats as I can. Um, I went from snowboarder to diplomat to franchise sales guy, and I got there actually through marketing. And so if I was to look at the younger version of myself and say, hey, you'll probably be the most happiest selling in a sales role, and you'll probably be the most happiest in selling franchises, the younger self of me would have said, you're crazy. I'm not doing that. But just by a sheer fact of working with really up and coming and emerging franchise concepts and being able to being afforded the opportunity of helping with marketing, even helping with operations, helping with sales, and really understanding where my true core strengths were, that was something that I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do. If I joined a large national franchise concept or a large company of any kind where, I was given my hat and my lane to stay in, I don't know if I would have had the opportunity or if I would have developed the skill sets that I have now. And I think franchising and emerging brands, especially in franchising, for having a pretty wide array of skills that I now use as a franchisor, as a franchisee too. So my main piece of advice would be, don't get into something thinking that's what you're going to do for the next 10 years, and try and ask to do as much as you can, wear as many hats as you can, to see where your true skill sets are and to develop them faster as well.